No one in Briar Hollow could remember when the house first appeared. It had always been there, crouched at the end of Blackthorn Road like a patient animal, waiting. What everyone remembered, what everyone agreed on, was this simple truth: anyone who went inside never came back. And after they vanished, their voices did. On a cold October night, the house began whispering my name. I was born and raised in Briar Hollow, a dying town in the Midwest where boarded windows outnumbered open ones and silence filled the spaces people used to. As kids, we dared each other to run past the house, never toward it. Even at a distance, you could feel it watching. The paint was the color of old bone, peeling in long strips like shedding skin. The windows were dark, but not empty. They reflected things that weren't behind you. The first person I remember disappearing was Mrs. Callahan. She lived 3 houses down from me and baked pies every Sunday. One evening, her dog was found tied to the fence outside the house on Blackthorn Road, whining and shaking. Mrs. Callahan was never seen again. That night, while I lay awake, I heard her voice drifting through my open window. "Help me," it whispered, soft and tired. "Please." The police searched the house the next morning. They came out pale and silent, and by noon the place was taped off. By the next week, the tape was gone. No report, no explanation, just another name added to the list people pretended didn't exist. Over the years, the voices multiplied. If you walked past the house at night, you could hear them through the walls, crying, laughing, begging, arguing. Familiar voices, lost voices. Sometimes they screamed so loud the air felt tight in your chest. Sometimes they spoke normally, as if life inside continued without bodies. Everyone avoided Blackthorn Road, everyone except me. My brother Daniel disappeared 5 years ago. Daniel didn't believe in cursed houses. He believed in logic, in explanations, in proving people wrong. He told me he was going to step inside the house and come right back out, just to show everyone it was all fear and rumors. I stood on the sidewalk and begged him not to. He smiled, confident and careless, and said, "I'll be back in 5 minutes." He never came back. That night, his voice joined the others. "Evan," he called from the darkness, the sound slipping through the walls of my bedroom like smoke. "It's cold in here." For 5 years, I lived with that voice. For 5 years, I told myself it wasn't real. Grief does strange things to the mind. That's what I repeated, until the voices started saying things I'd never told anyone. Things only the missing could know. That's when I decided to go inside. On the night I chose, the town was wrapped in fog so thick it swallowed the streetlights. Blackthorn Road looked shorter than I remembered, like the distance between me and the house had been cut in half. With every step, the whispers grew louder, overlapping into a restless chorus. The front door was already open. The smell hit me first: dust, rot, and something metallic beneath it. The air inside felt heavier, like it pressed down on my shoulders. I stepped in, heart pounding, and the door slammed shut behind me. The house exhaled. The walls were lined with faded wallpaper covered in dark stains that looked disturbingly organic. The floorboards creaked under my weight, groaning like they resented being disturbed. As I moved deeper, The voices became clearer, separating from the noise into individual sounds. Evan, don't go upstairs. Please listen. Daniel's voice came from the hallway ahead. I followed it. The hallway stretched longer than it should have, bending slightly, as if the house couldn't decide on its own shape. Doors lined the walls, each one closed. As I passed them, hands pressed from the inside, distorting the wood, fingers clawing silently. Daniel, I whispered. The last door at the end of the hall creaked open by itself. Inside was a room filled with mirrors, floor to ceiling, wall to wall. Each mirror reflected a different version of the room, slightly wrong. In one reflection, I was older, hollow-eyed. In another, I was bleeding. In all of them, I looked terrified. And behind me, in every mirror, stood Daniel. He looked the same as the day he disappeared, but his eyes were wrong, too deep, too aware. He smiled, but it didn't reach them. You came, he said. I turned. The room behind me was empty. Where are you? I asked. Everywhere, his voice replied, echoing from the mirrors. Just like the rest of us. The mirrors began to ripple, the reflections melting and reforming into faces I recognized: Mrs. Callahan, missing children, strangers I'd heard about on the news. Their mouths moved in unison. The house feeds, they said. The floor dropped away. I fell, not down, but inward, through darkness filled with memories that weren't mine. I felt fear, regret, last thoughts looping endlessly. The house wasn't killing people. It was keeping them, preserving their voices like echoes in a cave. I landed in a vast space that felt alive. The walls pulsed faintly, like veins beneath skin. Thousands of shadows stood around me, their forms incomplete, flickering. Daniel stood among them. You have to leave, he said urgently. It's learning you. The house shuddered, and a deep sound rolled through it, a satisfied hum. It needs new voices, Daniel whispered. Fresh ones. The shadows reached for me. I ran. The house fought back, hallways twisting, doors vanishing. Voices screamed lies and truths, trying to confuse me, slow me down. I followed one sound only, my own breathing, until I burst through the front door and collapsed onto the porch. The door slammed shut. The fog was gone. The street was quiet. Behind the walls, the voices screamed in rage. I never went back to Briar Hollow after that night. I told the authorities everything, but the house was empty when they arrived. No stains, no mirrors, just a quiet, ordinary building. They said it was condemned. But sometimes, late at night, miles away from Blackthorn Road, I hear my brother's voice drifting through the dark. Evan, it whispers softly. The house remembers you, and I know, deep down, that one day, it will come for me.